everybody, SonGoshuaku here, ready to rank every match from WWE Survivor Series WarGames 2024. So we kick things right off with number 5, LA Knight, versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Alright, so right off the bat, this match right here, it wasn't bad. It's just going back to what I was saying in my review. It's that Shinsuke Nakamura, he's been given these basically these stop-start pushes so many times that it was kind of hard for me to get invested in terms of thinking like, okay, Nakamura is gonna, maybe win this and everything, but you got two great performers here in the ring, so you knew it was gonna be good in terms of it. But what they did in this match, it was basically, as I said in my review, is that LA Knight just could not get going. Every time he had one up over Nakamura, well, out of nowhere, it ends up being Nakamura that ended up countering him, and it was kind of that way throughout the entire match. And what made that very interesting is when you get to the finish and he actually defeats LA Knight with the Kinshasa. Wow, it's like I didn't see this coming. Like, wow, okay. I'm like, are they actually getting serious about building up Nakamura? So yeah, I think there could have been more investment, especially from the audience, had Nakamura been built up months and months and years in advance, as opposed to like we build him up, take him off TV for multiple months, and then bring him back. But I'm loving the new presentation. I would have loved to seen LA Knight get a much better, longer run for sure, especially when it seems like he still had a lot left to do as the U.S. champion. But LA Knight will no doubt stay over with the audience. That's something that the WWE has been proven with the WWE, because whether they're booking him strong or they're booking him not doing much, the fans are constantly always over when it comes to LA Knight. So I think that will definitely suffice for being something hopefully good, such as think about 1998, The Rock and Triple H SummerSlam. Awesome match, ladder match at SummerSlam 1998. In that match, The Rock lost the Intercontinental title, and it wasn't like, all right, he's going to go down to the card now and nothing. No, in a few months, he became world champion. Hopefully, this is the start of bigger things to come for LA Knight, and this is something that is going to rebuild Nakamura. But in terms of a match compared to every other match on this card, I had to rank it at number 5 because, yeah, like I said, it was kind of mostly a one-sided affair for Nakamura, and basically, yeah, I don't think it was as exciting as the other matches to come. All right, number 4, Gunther versus Damian Priest. All right, like I said, in my review, I was a huge fan of their SummerSlam match. I thought it was awesome, man. Just seeing two new guys in the WWE in the World Championship picture on a Big 4 pay-per-view, and man, or PLE as they're called now, man, that match absolutely delivered. It was great, and the finish of Finn Balor coming out to really set up this whole feud of the Judgment Day being taken into a whole new direction, and Damian Priest going into the babyface side, it was really awesome. So you get to here, and I'm like, okay, now they're gonna run it back. Let Gunther actually defeat Damian Priest clean. And in terms of match quality, man, I definitely would have ranked this higher, because in ring-wise, this was a phenomenal match. The way the storytelling was played, Gunther being not being confident at all, Damian being confident, and once that shoulder tackle happened and Damian starts selling the arm, and Gunther becomes like that shark in the water that smells blood, it's like, man, okay, now we're cooking here, because that's where he started, exploiting that injury of Damian Priest all throughout the match, and it was really good. I love the psychology. I love how everything broke down. And then you get to the finish, and Finn Balor interferes, and they regurgitate the entire finish that we got at SummerSlam, pretty much. And even though Gunther beat up Finn Balor, and then got the win, the easy pickings win with Damian Priest, it's kind of like, man, that was such a sour ending. It left a bad taste in the mouth, basically, to end the match like that. And that's the reason why I had to go ahead and rank this at number 4. Had it had a clean finish, then man, it would have been awesome. And there's nothing wrong with having shenanigans if it makes sense. But it's like, I thought we were done with this Finn Balor and Damian Priest feud. I thought this was it. They should have gone even longer. I thought they would have, but man, I thought they would have ended it right where we left off, and they didn't even hint at anything. And it's like, Yeah, I just wasn't feeling that one. Unfortunately, really good match, but unfortunately, it reached the number 4 spot on this list just because that finish. Unfortunately, let me take a water break here. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put my BGM music on. We're live, pal. Number 3, the Women's War Games match. All right, so it's been about 48 hours almost since this match took place, or this whole event, and yeah, man, it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews. I've seen people who thought the match was solid, people who thought the match was okay. I've seen fans who absolutely thought this match was the drizzling poops. Me, I'm in the middle. Clearly, I put this list together for this match to be in the middle because this is what I think about it. It had enough big moments, I think, to separate itself from the first 2 entries on this list, but I think the rest of the match, when you get past the big moments, as far as like those transitional moments and how, you know, the more less spectacular parts of the match, how well did that transition into those big moments? That's where I think the match fell short of the glory. For once, like I said, I think this was my least favorite out of the 3 main roster women's war games that they have done, because the first 2 years you had the story of Bianca Belair taking on Damage Control off and on for 2 years, so it really intertwined with that match, and the way they put all the remaining parts into that match was great. Here they were just basically taking all the women and putting them together because they had to do a women's war games match, and like I said, I wouldn't have minded if they would have gone ahead and did a Survivor Series war game, a Survivor Series traditional match, however, you know, the 5-on-5 one. However, one of the biggest things that comes in handy for this was that they did have one female blood feud, and that was Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Thankfully, they were able to get Rhea Ripley back, and I thought she came out, by the way, with an awesome mask, which I just recently find out it was created by the gentleman that actually did the mask for Bray Wyatt, so did a fantastic job there. And overall, just basically putting that together, that's really the biggest story you had going into this match, was Liv and Rhea Ripley, so it made sense for them to be the captains of their teams. In terms of the match, like I said, you had some really pretty wild stuff, like Naomi taking out the toilet seat and wrapping it around Nia Jax's neck and then doing the stink face. You had the wild stuff like Io Sky taking the trash can that was painted purple with the yellow part at the bottom, putting it completely over her upper body, can't see a dang thing, and she ends up doing the moonsault from the top of the cage down to the rest of her teammates and competitors. And then you have on the other side of the cage, it was Tiffany Stratton who did the same thing. Other big moments, like I said, I thought there were some funny moments with like how Bianca's braid was used, her and Bayley whipping Nia Jax to Nia Jax, then coming back and whipping Bianca with her own braid. So really cool spots you had there, and I did like the finish spot of Nia Jax getting powered bomb by Naomi and Bianca Belair through the table, and then of course you had the big finish of Rhea Ripley lifting up Liv Morgan for the Riptide off the top rope through the table, because like I said, how short Liv Morgan is like a good 15 drops, so right through the table it looked like brutal. So yeah, like I said, when I look back at like a lot of the big spots in this match, it was good, it was fun, and I think it was enough for me not to want to put it at the match where it'd be like the worst match of the show. I did have fun. It's just the other parts, I don't think they really meshed together, and I do think this was the least best of the women's war games match, so that's kind of how I'm still feeling. So I say an okay match, solid match, good enough to make the middle of the list here. All right, I'm gonna sip of water break here. Number 2, Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Did I say that right? Ludwig Kaiser. My pronunciation is terribly off, so I'll apologize. But honestly, these 3 guys, excellent match. Excellent match, because man, not only in my review did I say this was going to be the best of the non-War Games match on this card, clearly by me putting it number 2, I thought it was the second best match overall, even War Games, better than the opening War Games match. Braun Breaker, absolute athletic heavyweight freak. My gosh, Ludwig Kaiser, tremendous athlete, and Sheamus, one of the hardest hitting WWE superstars that we've had over the past 10, almost 15 plus years. So you put all 3 of these guys in, you knew it was going to be hard hitting, and I was once again just amazed of Braun Breaker's amazing athleticism. Even the photo that I used there, just how he was able to jump from the apron over to those guys and then land across the announce table. Fantastic stuff. So many good stuff. Great near falls with Sheamus nearly winning the Intercontinental Championship. You know the fans are going to pop very hard when Sheamus does finally get that Intercontinental Championship and can go ahead and claim that he has won everything in WWE, as he is one of the most decorated WWE superstars in history. So I thought that was great, and Braun Breaker picking up the win, phenomenal. But yeah, these 3 guys, you could tell they went out there like, okay, this is PLE, we're not in the War Games match, but we're gonna freaking steal the show. And I've seen other fans, and I can't blame them. I can't blame them either. Obviously, I don't feel that way because it's at number 2, but honestly, there are some fans who feel this was no doubt the greatest match on the Survivor Series 2024 War Games PLE here. So man, that was phenomenal. It was great. Like I said, it's big testament the fact that I put this over a War Games match. So you know, last time I did one of these, I still had both War Games match going over the undercard, but yeah, this was good. And I'll say this much as someone who actually attended Survivor Series 2023 last year in Rosemont, Illinois, with the fellow Chicago audience. Man, I thought the undercard for Survivor Series 2024 was so much better than the undercard that show had last year. So there were some good things to look forward to. So absolutely, like, this is definitely a great match. Like the other stuff, I would say there's the previous 3 entries on this list. I would say there are certain parts you can pick and choose that would be really good if you don't have time to watch the entire show. But if I had to suggest at least 2 matches to definitely watch fully through, it's obviously this one and where we're going for the number 1 spot. Before we get to that, let me take another sip of water. Number 1, the men's War Games match. Well, as they have done many times, probably the majority of times that I've done these ranking PLE matches, to the exception of the WWE SummerSlam 2023 main event of Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns 3, which I attended live, the War Game, the Bloodline story has taken us to the number 1 spot on this list. Man, for those of you that follow me, I love the action in pro wrestling. I absolutely do. But as I always mention, when you have those characters that are captivating, you have a story that's captivating, man, it is magic, and a reminder of what we as professional wrestling fans, I think, love so much. This was a storytelling phenomenon in terms of what we see in the Bloodline story. Definitely up there, one of the best. Man. From the entrances of Roman and CM Punk coming out in the middle, to Jey Uso getting super lit, to Tama Tonga, from the beginning when we had the whole yeet and beat down face off and everything. That was pretty funny, and I just love what makes this thing so good, and I think this is what makes it even better than the War Games match that the Bloodline was in last time back in 2022, is it just felt like every single part in this match was laid out strategically and very strategically well at telling the story. From, okay, Jey Uso's getting beat down, so we're going to send Jimmy out there because Jimmy is going to be the best person that has the most experience and chemistry with working to him, to Solo being like, okay, we can't have the Usos in there, so I'm going to play my big trump card. I'm going to go ahead and have Jacob Fatu be the first one out. And it's like, oh, we're starting with Jacob right off the bat. And what an amazing strategy, because Jacob just came in there and cleaned house. And, you know, Sami was only able to do so much. You get Bronson Reed coming in there, and they were just getting overwhelmed to the storytelling of CM Punk's going to go, but Roman stops him, you know, to tell Sami to go, and building up that tension and stuff like that. And from the moment that Roman's like, all right, I got this, and Sami's like, CM Punk's like, no, I got this. And I love how when you've got CM Punk using his brains for it, basically. I'm not going to go in there and just try to fight and get beat down in the 4-1. I'm coming in with a, what was it, the red tool case. That was great. And just the way this all played out, from Solo Sikao coming out, and how the new bloodline had the team old bloodline beat down, and Punk and Jacob Fatu. My gosh, did Jacob Fatu not look like an absolute beast in this match? I still can't get over that no sell of when CM Punk did the bulldog spot onto Jacob Fatu, and Jacob just stands right up and he turns around and flips CM Punk in the air and turns it into a pump up Samoan drop. And then, like I said, I love the story details of Solo Sikao coming out, because at this point, like I said, in that match, the new bloodline, they were cooking. And then Solo Sikao came out and he's like making all these rules like, no, we ain't gonna have Roman come in there, which is why it was saying you can't win the match. And obviously Roman ended up climbing out anyways. And when you got that point in the match where CM Punk and Roman aren't getting along, you have Paul Heyman coming out to give them the prep talk about how this is war. And now I love, towards the end of the match, you had all the OG Bloodline members, and you had CM Punk working together to go ahead and take the new Bloodline out. That was awesome. And that big splash, no doubt the spot of the night, the spot of the match, Bronson Reed coming crashing down 15 feet in the air through the top of the cage, right through the table, and perfectly timed by CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Love the big splash that Jey Uso did off basically the top of the cage down to who was it, Jacob Fatu, and that's what took him out. And Jacob Fatu selling the leg. Apparently I'm hearing there might be some legitimate injuries from Bronson Reed and Jey Uso, so hopefully it's nothing serious, because those are some heavy amount of distance to come off the top of those cage and land on your knees to break your fall for those splashes. But also, I think what also made this work was the great storybook ending. If you're going to end a big arc in a huge, dramatic, epic story, that's how you do it. The Usos working together with the super kicks, into Sami Zayn doing the haluva kick, to CM Punk doing the GTS that then ends with Roman Reigns hitting the spear on Solo Sikao for the 1-2-3. And I love how this was so great, because the first time in WarGames it was about making sure Sami is loyal. This time they were all united. I love that all 5 of them played a finish into defeating Solo Sikao, who was still defiant, yelling, "I'm still the tribal chief," and he still gets taken down. The finish, I loved it. Obviously a lot of people were disappointed that they lingered on the camera for too long, but like I said, I don't think they were going to do anything big. Obviously we hoped it, and yeah, I would have loved to see where this story's going next, but hey, overall it was a great sight to see. I used it here for the screenshot right there of the photo with all the old bloodline CM Punk standing tall. So phenomenal match. Just really great storytelling. Like I said, I mean, man, this was great. I loved it even more than the first time the Bloodline were in the WarGames. I definitely think this is going to have to go down as one of the best men's WarGames match, just from the way this was played out from start to finish. Phenomenal. Easily the #1 match for the WarGame, for Survivor Series WarGames 2024. Can't say enough good things about it. All right, so we're going to go over, see if there's anything in the chat. Probably not. I mean, I'm filming this at 11:20-ish a.m. Is Central Time, so most people are probably at work and will watch this on demand. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this. Now, if you want a more detailed review, go ahead and check out my Survivor Series 2024 WarGames review right there on the screen. Also, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and tell me what you thought of WarGames and what you would have ranked these matches from. Also, all links for my social media will be in the description and pinned comment below. Until next time, take care.